And tonight I'm going to try to be brief and simple, but I'm going to bring you some information about our history that we don't normally hear. Normally, Black History Month, we hear about Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, some slavery, and a few other things. And I'm going to teach you tonight about some history that predates what we've always known, okay? First, let's start with the word history. History deals with the recording of events, okay? The recording of events, okay? So, you talk about our story. Our story predates the recording of events, okay? And I myself understand my African legacy and African history, and I understand the fact that not only black people came from Africa, everyone came from Africa, okay? The very first people on the planet came from Africa. Black, white, Asian, and all over the world today. In China, Hawaii, in Mexico, in Japan, you'll find the original people, the indigenous people. Australia, the aboriginal people, were people of color, okay? So tonight, I'm going to tell you about the original people not only around the world, but the original people here in Louisiana who are the oldest people found on Earth. Did you know that you have some of the oldest people on the planet found right here in Louisiana? Okay, before it's over, I'm going to bring it right home to Baton Rouge, okay, and show you some of the oldest people on the planet right here. Okay, so right now, who do we know are the oldest people on the planet? Who's that?
Magnesh.
Adam and Eve?
Magnesh.
Magnesh? Danknesh.
So-called Lucy.
Danknesh, okay. Well, how old is Adam and Eve? Is that Adam and Eve? Dank. Was Eve named Dank?
No.
Okay. Well, let's deal with some old people we found here in North America, right here. This is an Olmec head. Familiar with the Olmec head?
Yes, sir.
The Olmecs are thought to be some of the oldest people in North America. We're going to deal with this concept right here. The hidden history of black civilizations in America, okay? There are several civilizations of black people who were right here long before slaves were brought over here, long before any Indians came across the ocean, long before any European explorers came across the ocean. There were a civilization of ancient black people in North America. History records the Olmecs as being the oldest civilization here. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about some other people here. Of course, we heard about history, about Christopher Columbus. We've given Christopher Columbus our whole life. We know that this is the lie. Okay? There are several books about this. I'm not going to discuss Christopher Columbus. This is not true. Okay? One thing is not true. Let's go on. Also, we've given a history of the African Holocaust, the slave trade. That's part of our history? The slave trade is not our history. We did not do the slave trade. We were victims of the slave trade. The slave trade is the history of Europeans, people from up here, exporting people down here, okay? These people up here came out of the Ice Age and began to colonize these people and take all of our resources, okay? Why are we here today? We're here today to set the record straight. All the black people in North America did not come here on slave ships. All the black people in America did not come on slave ships. There are from time immemorial, beginning of time, there were black people on every piece of land on this planet. The problem is we've been given a map, okay? Next. The average people of America, right here, right, very good. We've been given a map of the world that's distorted. We have the continent of Africa. The continent of Africa is the only continent on the planet that is set into the soil, into the ground. All of the continents, South America, North America, Australia, Greenland, all these continents drift. Africa is set in the ground. Okay, next. This is the way it was at the beginning of time. All these are once connected. Can you see how South America fits perfectly into Africa? You have right here North America and Africa fitting together. And you have here a map that I was taught about. Go back one. In school, and in school I did very good. My mom would tell you I made straight A's in school. I love math. I love science. When they took those leap tests, we had leap tests, I made a 99 star. I had no problem. So growing up, I was always blessed with understanding, really overstanding information. So all this research came from me listening to my grandmother in California talk about we ain't come from Africa. My grandmother was 6'3" woman, long hair. She came from what they call the territory, Oklahoma. She always talked about we was more than that. We was more than just Africans. We was more than just slaves, okay? Go next. Next, one more time. My grandma talked about a time when the planet was called Mu. Today you hear European accounts of Lemuria, Atlantis, all these lost civilizations. We don't know who they were. These people disappeared. Next. And of course we have Africa. Next. An ancient word for Africa, a Moorish word, is a Mexum. Next. A Kibulan is the indigenous name for the continent we know as Africa. This is the name long before any European named Africa Cipicanus renamed our continent. Next. Here you have Egypt. Egypt is a Greek word. Egypt is a Greek word. And we say Greek word because if you've gone to school, you will learn that the Greeks were the first civilization recognized in Europe, up here, okay? Go ahead, next. Ultimately, you'll find that the very first people, Denknesh, the oldest woman on the planet, 3.1 million years old, 3.1 million. This might be a problem for some people because I grew up in the church. I was taught about Adam and Eve being the first people on the planet. Adam and Eve, if you listen to any theological scholar, religious scholar, they'll tell you Adam and Eve was roughly 6,000 to 7,000 years old. 6,000 to 7,000 years old, yeah, we have a black woman, 3.1 million years old, okay? And I guarantee you she had a mother and a father also, okay? Next. We're then taught about Arabia, India, and the problem here I have a problem. See, India is a subcontinent, and in India, the original people there also were black, called Dravidians, okay? Today they still exist, they're called the untouchables. So today in India, you have the untouchables. If you go to Asia, we have the great Oriental empires, okay? And in Asia, if you go to the Great Wall of China, and you walk down, I have a friend who's a Washington, he's one of my friends. He went to the Great Wall of China and brought me back a photograph of a giant black man on the Great Wall of China. Because the ancient original people in China were people of color. Okay, next. And of course you have Europe. Europe is one of the newest cultures on the planet, okay? When we talk about Europe, we talk about the Caucasians, and we are taught oftentimes right here, this is where Iraq and Iran is, okay? We'll do a little bit of geography for people who are not up on the geography. Iraq and Iran are right here. We're taught that this is the cradle of civilization. Mesopotamia, the Tigris-Euphrates rivers, okay? Yet we know that the people here were here for thousands of years. Ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, Tameri. We have our ancient ancestors tell us that the oldest people in the planet came to our zenith in Egypt. But we actually began down here at the beginning of the Nile River, at the foot of the mountain of the moon, which is called Mount Kilimanjaro. So understand, the oldest people on the planet come from here, and if you're black or white, you're African American in America, okay? All the people on the planet started here. Next. Now, of course, this is how the planet started, and we were taught, if you read the Bible, the empress, that they'll watch start talking about a time when they talk about the day of Peleg, when the lands and the waters separated, okay? So understand there's a time when the world was like this. Next. The Washita people. Who are the Washita people? The Washita people are some of the oldest people on the planet. We were here in North America, next, right here, before the continents drifted apart. Understand, all these people right here, all this land here was once one landmass. People here did not need a boat to go over here. In history, we're taught constantly that somebody had to get a boat and go from over here to over there. The world is flat. Understand that at one point you didn't have to catch a boat and go across over here. Next. The Washita here, when the earth was called Mu, next. And when the people were called Moors, okay? Moors. Today they say the word Moor, they spell it with 2 O's, Moor. It comes from the Latin word Moor, M-A-U-R-O, Maro. Maro is a word that simply means black people. A lot of people want to argue, they want to be black, Negro, all these different names. And ultimately, Negro is what? A Spanish word for what? Black. Ultimately, we're all black people. When it comes time, when we're getting jacked up or abused or exploited in some way, we immediately become black. Okay, I was in Canada, I was listening to the Jamaicans and the Haitians and the Nigerians, all these people fussing about their national identity. But the minute there was a problem, they all suddenly were black. So understand, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm loving it. Okay, James Brown did me a favor. When I was in elementary school in Los Angeles, California, our teacher always played James Brown, I'm black and I'm proud, all the time. And to this day, I still love that song. Next. Here you have the Olmecs, the Aztecs, the Mayans. These are people who lived in Central America. We're right here. This is Louisiana right here. These are the Olmecs. They are thought to be the oldest people on the planet. Aztecs, Iroquois are people who lived in the Caribbean, okay? Carib, the original people who supposedly Christopher Columbus discovered when he got here, are supposed to be the Caribs, the Maroons in Jamaica, okay? Next. And of course you have the Moors. The Moors are the people who civilized Europe. For 700 years, the Moors took knowledge into Europe, into Spain, into the Iberian Peninsula, built the first universities here, the first cities, waterworks, waterways, and the Moors are some of the people who traveled the planet spreading knowledge and wisdom. When the invaders came into Egypt, the Moors are the ones who took the knowledge out and saved it, and salvaged the knowledge. They were the teachers. They still travel. I'm a Moor. Are there any Moors in the house today? You're all a Moor. We're all the Moors. Okay? Next. Here you have the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, more Mayans, the Olmecs. Here is where we are taught the first people in North America existed. Up here you have the Washita proper. Do you think it's possible that the people here happen to meet the people up here? Yeah. It's possible, huh? Okay, next. Here you have, what's this right here? Where are we at right here? Washoe. That's the Washoe people, right? What's right there behind there? What's right here? We got Lake Pontchartrain, huh? We got New Orleans. Now who they say was here? The Washoe people? The Chawasha? You got the Wichita up here, okay? You got it's not, see this Kushata? That is called Kushita. The Kushita people, okay? Tunica, Natchez, Biloxi, all these are indigenous people, indigenous black people. All this land here is Washita. If you ever got a map of the United States, you have the Washita River flowing here, up through the Washita Forest, over to the Washita Mountains. You also have the Washita River, the Red River, which runs this way and ends up the Washita River right here, okay? The Washita River. When they had the Great Trail of Tears, and the military came in and made all of the Indians get off their land over, next. Get off their land over in Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas. They took them all into Oklahoma, into the Washita. This is a map I got. It says Louisiana and West Florida, okay? It came when the British armies were attacking New Orleans after the War of 1812, the War of 1812. Here you have Lake Pontchartrain, correct? Go next, go next. We'll try to get a little closer. Here you have Lake Pontchartrain. You have the city of New Orleans right here, okay? Here's Gentilly, here's Metairie, and here's the Lake of the Washers, okay? Here's the Washoe River. If you go look at the map today, these names have been changed and erased. The Washer's not there. This is called Lake Chenier, I think. Chenier. So here you have an ancient map. It's not that old, about the time of the War of 1812, showing Lake Washoe. And here you have spelled the French way, Washoe. Okay.